Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Emotions in the Brain webinar series. Over the couple weeks, myself, Alex, and Erin, all school psychologists with MFNRC, are going to share some information about emotions and how they relate to our brain. So how it works is that we've created 6 10 or less minute videos, and we're going to release them for 2 weeks on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So week 1, we're going to talk about parts and functions of the brain. On the Wednesday, we're going to talk flipping your lid. Thursday, fight, flight, and freeze. And then week 2, we're going to move into some of the strategies. So emotional regulation, co-regulation strategies, and adult self-care. So here we are for part 1. So we're going to do parts and functions of the brain. There are many parts of the brain, but we're going to focus mainly on these 4. So we're going to talk about the brainstem, prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and the hippocampus. Here's just a diagram of the brain explaining where those parts of the brain is. So our prefrontal cortex is the front part of our brain. Our hippocampus, you can see, is in the middle part of our brain. It's actually located kind of right behind our ears. And then our amygdala is the same thing. It's right behind our ears, right beside the hippocampus. Okay, so here's another diagram, and it kind of goes into detail about what these 3 main parts of our brain are responsible for. Basically, prefrontal cortex, it is our thinking part of our brain. It's going to help us solve a math problem. It's going to help us read our favorite book, give them time to work, make friends, make good decisions. Our amygdala, its basic job is to keep you safe. And then a hippocampus is essentially your scrapbook of your brain. It's going to keep those memories. So our brainstem, or our reptilian, is the part of the brain that is responsible for our basic body functions. So it's responsible for our breathing, or it's responsible for our heart pumping. The things that we're not fully thinking about, it's just things that the brain does. Our brainstem is the first part of the brain to develop. So actually our brain, how it develops is it starts back here and it develops over. Okay, so it starts at the back, ends in the front kind of thing. Prefrontal cortex is actually not finished until mid-20s. So prefrontal cortex, what it does, the prefrontal cortex uses important information to focus, decide, compute, analyze, and reason. It's basically just our thinking part of our brain, and it helps us make good decisions. We'll talk about this later, but there is a catch. It only receives information to make those good decisions when our amygdala is calm. We've also referred to it as our ego part of the brain. And our amygdala, so it's those feelings that, have you ever felt like you wanted to run, freeze, or fight? That's our amygdala. It's our amygdala's program to keep you safe at all costs. It regulates and blocks information from going to your prefrontal cortex so you can react in an instant. The challenge is it can't tell a stressful situation from a true emergency, and it can cause you to react without thinking. So we've also referred to our amygdala as our dog part of the brain. And our hippocampus. So our hippocampus is what creates, stores, and processes all those important facts and memories the prefrontal cortex passes to it. It is like our library system of the brain. The catch here is that the hippocampus can't get the information from your prefrontal cortex if your amygdala is firing. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but we've also referred to the hippocampus as our elephant part of the brain. So next time we'll talk about what can happen when fear, danger, or intense emotions overwhelm our amygdala. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.